Welcome to the final presentation in HED 337 Exercise Principles. In this last presentation, what I'm hoping to do is give you a little bit of entry into how all of the principles that we have seen throughout the semester can be integrated into a setting where you can positively have an effect on other individuals' ability to pursue a lifestyle of exercise, fitness, and physical activity. There's a lot of variety out there, and there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages to many of the settings that we face. And so in today's presentation, we're going to spend some time going through the different ways that people will engage in fitness and exercise type activities. Along the way, we're going to see some that you may already participate in, and we see some that maybe you've tried and have failed with, but don't look at it as you have failed with the exercise experience. Maybe it just wasn't the right mode of exercise for you. And so maybe in this presentation, you'll actually see some other modes of exercise that you may want to try out or that you can take out of this class and try with some of your clients. So here we go. Okay, so let's talk about this idea of including exercise and fitness for any type of individual sort of into the future. Where have we been? Where are we now? And what's coming in the future in terms of exercise and fitness? There's a couple things to keep in mind first, though. If we know exercise is good for you, why don't more people do it? You can probably think of a number of different reasons that people give as excuses why they don't exercise. Give yourself a second and think of a couple. Maybe the first thing you thought of was that people complained about a lack of time. Well, we've already shown that with interval training or things like Tabata training, you can get maximal benefits physiologically for a minimal time investment. You may have said people don't know what to do. And so this lack of education is yet another reason why people don't exercise. Maybe they think it's too hard, or it's a task, and they don't like to do tasks. Maybe they've never found anything fun to do. And so for you as the exercise professional, your job is now going to be to identify why people don't engage in exercise and fitness activities and what you can do to help move them in that direction. So really, what is it that makes an exercise program both attractive and effective? What are the characteristics of an exercise routine that make people want to participate? Think about your own exercise experiences. What things did you like? What things did you not like? And why? Maybe you like participating in group fitness and you like the social atmosphere of it. Maybe you like the competitive nature of setting a clock and competing against others around you. If you're one of those people, you have to think of the alternative though. There are people who like to exercise alone, who don't like to compete against anyone but themselves. For example, I'm one of those people. I cannot stand working out in large groups or with other individuals or when people are watching me. I don't want anyone to see me exercise. I want to do it on my own and be in my own head. And so for me, these big group classes, they just don't work. Maybe you have found that you enjoy something that you can do in your own home. Maybe it's somewhere in a park. You like to go to the setting. So there's a lot of different ideas that people find that make a certain exercise or fitness routine attractive. The effectiveness is something we can discuss as we move through this lecture. So, when we think about the exercise principles that we've covered this semester, we've talked about training for aerobic, training for resistive benefits. We've talked about a lot of special topics, including speed, agility, balance. We've talked about organizing a program periodized from beginning to end, from preseason to competition phase. We've talked about what works best in the off season. We've talked about sport specificity, and we've talked about general physical preparedness. So there are a lot of options out there in terms of exercise and fitness, but your job is to identify what works best for each individual. Take, for example, the home gym. Think about your house. Think about your parents' house. Is there a piece or are there pieces of exercise equipment that you have at home? Now, for many of us, these pieces of exercise equipment, though, are often relegated to holding clean or dirty laundry, right? A treadmill that is stuffed into a spare bedroom that has extra linens thrown on top of it. Maybe it's a great place to store your holiday decorations. If you drive around come springtime, when people are throwing out garbage that they have accumulated, they're cleaning out their garage, their shed, their basement, you'll often see bikes, rowing machines, weights, all of these as seen on TV exercise pieces of equipment that are thrown by the roadside. What is it that's an advantage of a home gym? What is it that's a disadvantage? Well, you may be thinking that the advantages of the home gym are it's close to home. I don't have to travel. It's always open. Those are great advantages. For me, as I said earlier, people aren't watching me. I can do my own exercise without feeling the judgment of others. Some people like a home gym because maybe they're trying new things, and if they fail, they feel very self-conscious being in public. So those are some of the advantages. Disadvantages, there's an obvious one, and that's safety. When you are working out alone in a home gym, there are safety concerns if you become injured or unable to stop a piece of equipment or stop a weight from falling on top of you. There are also the disadvantages of education. If people don't know how to use the exercise equipment properly, they won't. Motivation. You have to be self-motivated enough to go to your home gym area and work out. For instance, the image that we see here, not exactly an attractive exercise facility. It's not a place that I'm going to want to go to work out in. It's dark, it may be cold, it's located either in a basement or a garage, and so you're sort of secluded, even some people might say ostracized from the rest of the house. And for some, that is not an attractive option in terms of exercise. What about using videos and games? There's a number of options out there for us. P90X, Insanity, using a game console such as the Wii or the Kinect, using videos that are available with certain aspects. There are also positives and negatives to these. The positives include that there is some programming available. You can watch people do the exercises to see if you can understand how to do them a little more clearly. There's demonstrations. Some of these actually give feedback, like the Wii Fit and the Kinect. They'll tell you if you're doing it appropriately or not, within a general parameter. However, some of the negatives, just as with the home gym, there's the negative of the upfront cost of buying that piece of equipment. With our videos and games, we have an upfront cost that may be too expensive for some. There's also the idea, again, of self-consciousness if you're doing this in your living room. Usually, we have big windows in our living room, and people walking by the street will look and go, "Hey, that Dr. K is crazy. Do you see him bouncing around his living room?" That's something I don't want to have happen. Although I'm sure I probably have, actually, now that I think of it. So there are some other disadvantages to the videos. They do get repetitive and boring. If you only have a small selection and you're watching them all the time, the routine can grow stale. And so people may lose motivation for doing these at home. Think to yourself of some other advantages and disadvantages of using videos and games for exercise and fitness. Many people like to purchase a membership to a facility. There are advantages and disadvantages, just like all of the rest of our exercise options. The advantages are that you can experience a wide variety of classes and equipment. You're going to have more equipment than you could ever purchase for your own home at a fraction of the cost. However, some of these are still more expensive. Maybe you have locked into a deal where your membership is only $10 a month. Now, here's the alternative. To make that $10 worth it, you actually have to go to exercise. Wow, who would have thought that's the key? A lot of people sign up for automatic memberships, and I will tell you that gyms love automatic billing. Don't see, you don't mind. And so people sign up for these gym memberships. Maybe they go for a month or two, and then they fall off the wagon. But yet their credit card keeps processing. Maybe you right now are paying a gym fee. Maybe you need to think about canceling that gym fee if you're not using it, because really, that's just money wasted. Some of the other advantages of using this facility, it's a social atmosphere. You can meet groups there. Some of the disadvantages would be just the opposite. Maybe you don't like that social atmosphere. Maybe you feel judged. Maybe you feel like everyone can do better than you at exercise. Sometimes it is a gender-specific opportunity. This is why some organizations like the BAC have designated their exercise facilities as women only. This is to stop that gender discrimination or maybe harassment or snide looks, and people feel more comfortable with their own gender. The YMCA has really adopted this family atmosphere so that kids and parents are welcome in the same facility, where other fitness facilities may discourage you bringing your children to exercise with you. Overall, some advantages and disadvantages can cross over here. As it's less costly than purchasing your own equipment, it still may be fairly costly to you. Personalized coaching. Now, this is an option that you can take advantage of at many of the facilities we saw on the last slide, or you can reach out to a certified personal trainer or a certified strength and conditioning specialist on your own. You see here on the right hand of the screen, there are 3 organizations or 3 certifications that really are the top certifications that we would want someone to have. The American College of Sports Medicine and the National Strength and Conditioning Association all have certifications as certified personal trainers. The National Academy of Sports Medicine also has a CPT exam. Either of these organizations are great certifications for you as a graduate from the kinesiology department in Canisius. A certified personal trainer is educated, they have to take an exam, and they have to have appropriate experiences that make them a professional. The gold standard, however, in strength and conditioning is the National Strength and Conditioning Association's Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. For those of you that don't know, Canisius is an educationally recognized program by the NSCA, and therefore our students get a discount on the CSCS exam. These are great certifications for you to have and add to your list on your resume in pursuit of another job, whether it's as a physical educator, an athletic trainer, a physical therapist, physician assistant, or certified strength and conditioning specialist. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages? Well, some of the advantages that you might be thinking of are that you have an educated expert to help you. You have someone monitoring all of your movements as well as the program that you are using in exercise and fitness to reach your goals. You have someone to give feedback with. You have someone who will help motivate you. Disadvantages would be that you have to go when that person is available. It's not open 24 hours like a home gym. It doesn't have hours from 5 in the morning until 11 at night like maybe a gym membership would. And so the hours may be a disadvantage for you. The other big disadvantage that people find is that this is expensive. This is a profession. And just like any profession, you get what you pay for. Okay? The greater the qualifications, the more expensive the professional will be. Take, for example, these exams. Some of these exams can run anywhere from $200 to $500 to take the actual certification exam. That is an investment in the educational process. When I work with individuals, I can charge up to $150 an hour based on my prior experience working with individuals as well as my educational background. Now, right out of college, you're probably not going to be able to charge that much, but that's right around a going rate. So it is quite expensive when people get into it. But again, you get what you pay for. What I want to caution you about is the fact that there are a lot of programs out there in terms of certifications, and some are better than others. These are your three primary ones that you should be either looking for to attain yourself, or if you want to work with a fitness professional, these would be the certifications I would highly recommend you look for in someone else, because there is a lot of crap out there. Take a look here. For $95, you can get an online personal training certification from the American Fitness Institute. I'm going to guess that anything you can buy on Groupon certification-wise probably isn't as high of a standard as something you need a bachelor's degree in a program related to exercise science for. This may not be a great certification for you to work with or for you to get. So be careful, because there's a lot of junk out there. You've got to sift your way through it. What about other types of programs? Well, people often enjoy yoga. Yoga is a physical, mental, and spiritual discipline that originated in ancient India and brought to the United States actually in the 1890s. It actually hit its peak, though, in the 1960s, so it was around for about 70 years before it really started to peak. It reached a second peak in the 80s, and we're seeing another resurgence of all types of yoga studios now. We have power yoga, we have relaxation yoga, and we have that awful thing called Bikram hot yoga. I tried to do it once. I left about 20 minutes into it because I could not breathe. I had sweated off, I believe, 600 pounds because it was 9,452 degrees in the room. If you haven't tried hot yoga, hey, go give it a shot. I can just tell you for myself, it is not for me. But many find yoga a great complementary or exclusive exercise and fitness program for themselves, emphasizing the lengthening of the body tissues, flexibility, as well as mental and spiritual benefits. A lot of people really enjoy yoga, and there's a lot of evidence out there that shows that yoga works. Pilates, as seen here, truly is established around a Pilates studio with a machine that you can see here called the Reformer. Now, Pilates is a conditioning routine that is used to build flexibility, long, lean muscles, strengthen endurance in the legs, abdominals, arms, hips, and back. The emphasis here is on spinal and pelvic alignment along with appropriate breathing techniques. It involves having a strong core, toning the abdomen while strengthening the back. It also helps to improve coordination and balance. This is another routine that can be done at home or with a certified Pilates instructor. Make sure again, though, that you're checking those certifications and training of your Pilates and yoga instructors. They should have trained under a well-known institute in order to be providing that service. Just because they've done it once or twice in their life does not make them an expert. Same way that just because you lifted to play soccer, it doesn't make you a strength and conditioning expert for soccer. Tai Chi is an internal Chinese martial art that is practiced both for its defense training and the health benefits. Tai Chi actually has probably the greatest wealth of evidence that it helps reduce blood pressure, reduce stress, improve motion. The movements here emphasize a straight spine, abdominal breathing, and natural range of motion, and involves different styles of pushing the hands around. If you've ever seen a Tai Chi society performing, you'll notice that it really is a particular type of individual that participates in Tai Chi. The geriatric population, the older population, finds this extremely a great fitness activity. Because it is so slow and yet it is a social atmosphere, it allows for some relaxation as well as some strengthening and flexibility. The evidence really for Tai Chi is overwhelming. So it's definitely something to keep in mind and to look into. Along with that, the geriatric population participates in a lot of special population classes. Two things that we see here. We see on the left-hand side, Sit and Be Fit. Now these courses are for individuals who may not have the greatest of balance, but still want to be fit. And so in a seated position, we can use dumbbells, we can use rubber tubing, we can exercise the lower and the upper extremities. We can do squats, standing and sitting out of the chair, or we can just limit it to shoulder and upper extremity work. The sky is the limit with this. The important thing to know is these people are still moving, they're still exercising, and that's what we want to see. On the right-hand side of the screen is an example of water aerobics. Water aerobics is another very popular exercise routine for older individuals. It has a social aspect to it. And what you actually do is you use the resistance available through the water, moving things like dumbbells as seen here, or kickboards. They add resistance as you move through. And so with that resistance, you do get some strengthening. But what it does is it reduces the amount of stress on your joints. Because of the buoyancy of the water, you actually take stress off of the knees, the ankles, the hips, and the back. And a lot of people find that more comfortable. Typically, pools are a little bit of a warmer condition also. And so for them, being in a warm, supportive environment is easy to move and they enjoy the exercise experience. So water aerobics is a great way to get some exercise. Little fun fact, my own personal exercise training experience started as a water aerobics instructor at the YMCA. That's right. Good old Dr. K was hopping in the pool teaching water aerobics at the YMCA for many, many years through college. It was a lot of fun, great social atmosphere, and I really enjoyed my time there. Aerobics. Aerobics originate by Kenneth Cooper, who wrote a book in 1968 titled Aerobics. Before that, the term really wasn't even used. But the idea of aerobics combined rhythmic aerobic exercise with stretching and strengthening, and the goal here is to improve all the elements of fitness. Some use steps, some are done in studios, some use dumbbells, but they are typically a high tempo activity. They are a rhythmic activity. And so if you don't have any rhythm, I definitely don't advise you getting involved in aerobics. You may have seen these studios, Curves for Women. Curves for Women originated in 1995 as a 30-minute fitness, strength training, weight loss guidance, and environment designed specifically for women. It is designed around circuit training and utilizes hydraulic resistance equipment. Here you see different pieces of equipment circled around a room that women will spend a certain amount of time on each piece of equipment before moving to the next, and they will work in work-rest ratios. So it's very much like the interval training that we talked about. It is 30 minutes long, and so the number one excuse, people don't have time, Curves is designed to reduce that excuse. They're also designed to reduce the excuse of, I don't feel comfortable in a general fitness facility. So Curves is a great option. Zumba. Big, exciting, originated in Colombia in 1986, came to the United States in 2001. This is a combination of dance and aerobics, squats, and lunges. Typically in a 60-minute session taught by certified Zumba teachers. This is a culture. This is more than an exercise routine. People really live and enjoy the Zumba lifestyle. One thing to be sure of, though, is again, check the certification and make sure that you have a certified Zumba instructor. Anyone can go out and dance and scream and get people sweating. That's easy to do. But to do it correctly and appropriately, certification is a must. I have to admit, never tried Zumba myself. If you've ever seen me dance, which none of you have, it's not a pretty sight. Spinning? Spinning on a stationary bike, typically burns between 400 and 500 kilocalories in an approximately 45-minute session. Involves strengthening the quadriceps and hamstrings, works the backs and the hips. It is a lower body aerobic activity. And so for an individual who doesn't want to be bouncing around the room, maybe they're a little less rhythmic than everyone else, this is a great aerobic alternative for them. Combat sports. Up and coming. Things like taekwondo, judo, jiu-jitsu, boxing, MMA. These studios are popping up all over the place. People are finding enjoyment in, well, beating the crap out of each other. I mean that in the safest way possible. But honestly, there's a lot of aerobic and resistive benefits to using body weight to manipulate other people, to throw people, to learn new moves. There's an educational process. You get a certified person who is usually operating these. You have to be careful because, again, these facilities can be run by people who have experience with boxing, but no experience teaching boxing. And those are very different things. Finally, one of my favorites is this idea of CrossFit. We've talked a lot about this over the course of the semester. And I'm not advocating for CrossFit specifically. What I'm doing is I'm saying that the technique behind or the methodology that they are experimenting with has a lot of validity to it. CrossFit was actually founded in the year 2000, so it is still relatively young, and it is this constantly varied, high-intensity, functional movement as we talked about during our semester. The goal of CrossFit, however, is general fitness, general physical preparedness. It is not sport specificity. Something like spinning is going to lead to specificity while riding a bike. CrossFit, very different from that. It is defined, again, as improving the work capacity across broad time and modal domains, and is used heavily by law enforcement and military personnel. The workouts here are typically short, 20 minutes or less, and high intensity, demanding all-out physical exertion. These activities combine sprinting, rowing, jumping rope, climbing rope, weightlifting, and then carrying odd objects, including barbells, dumbbells, gymnastic rings, pull-up bars, kettlebells, medicine balls, along with many body weight exercises. The problem with CrossFit gyms are expensive. The other problem is there's a lot of technique involved in this, and the beginner athlete who isn't appropriately accommodated to that technique or appropriately taught by a certified instructor may be doing something wrong. So we need to be careful about that as well. One thing to keep in note is a lot of people pursue exercise early on, and they push pediatrics or teenagers with the idea that, hey, if you participate in your given sport, you're going to get a college scholarship, and then we won't have to pay for your education. Well, let me tell you, right here and now, that is not what is happening. Just look at this list here of high school participants per sport, and then how many go on to compete at the NCAA level. Now, this doesn't even involve NAIA or junior colleges. This is just the NCAA, and it is a very small percentage. And then you can go on and look at what occurs at the NCAA Division I level. Just that, like Canisius College here. If we follow this down, our highest percentages for male athletes are that 4% of high school hockey players can play Division I college hockey. 4 out of every 100 high school hockey players. For females, ice hockey is also the highest percentage sport. 8 out of 100. Now, let's look at the most popular high school sports. There are over 1 million male high school football players. 1 million. Out of these 1 million individuals, 2.5% will go on to play NCAA Division I, and only 6% will go on to play in college. As far as basketball, another popular sport, 500,000 play at the high school level, and that percentage is about 1% will play Division I, 3.4% will ever go on to compete in college. For our female athletes, the most popular sport, if we look down our list here, is track and field, with almost 500,000 individuals. Again, less than 6% will go on to compete in track and field at the college level. For basketball, we're at 433,000, 3.8%, or about 1.1% playing at the Division I level. So it's important to look at these stats when you have a young athlete coming into you and mom or dad are pressuring and saying, let's work on their strength and conditioning because we got to get them a college scholarship. The odds are not in their favor for this. So be careful when you're working with those developing athletes that you are appropriately teaching them the skills for success in life rather than the skills in success in a certain college sport. What's next? That's a very good question. That's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to the people that follow you. What are you going to go out and make the next big exercise fitness craze that's out there? Some, as we've seen, have only been around since the 90s or early 2000s. But maybe you're thinking, maybe this class stimulated a little entrepreneurship, and now you're thinking, how can I develop an exercise program that combines all of the things that I like and all of the things that I know are effective to get people moving and get people fitter? All right, that wraps it up here for HED 337 Exercise Principles. Hopefully, we covered a lot of information this semester, and there were one or two things that you can take from here to adapt either into your own exercise routine, or what it's going to do is help you be able to develop exercise routines for those around you, maybe in a future employment, maybe even if it's just family and friends. But there's something that you can take of value from here, pay it forward, right? We want people to be active. We want people to be fit. We know that the fitter people are, the healthier they're going to be, the longer and more high quality of a life that they will have. And so that's always what is most important. Do something that's going to keep you moving and do something that you find fun and enjoyable. It's different for everyone. There is no right or no wrong, but as long as you keep moving, that's all that we're really concerned about. So thank you for joining me this semester. Thank you for your time, your comments, your discussion, and your input into this course. I've had a great semester. I hope you have too. And don't feel afraid to reach out after this. If you have any questions about exercise, I love to sit and talk about it. Reach out, drop me an email. Maybe we can contact again. Stop by the office. Always glad to talk about this stuff. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Stay safe.